Hello, guys, and welcome to what is possibly the most stressful episode of the Stardom cast the entire year. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I'm joined by Mr. Matt Turner, and it is time, ladies and gentlemen, with the announcements of the Cinderella 2025 brackets. It is time. It's time. It's bracketology time. And that can only mean one thing, Matt Turner. That is heightened blood pressure for me.
Yeah, I think maybe we should do these and get you a little drunk. I think that's maybe you might have better picks. However, shouldn't say that because for somebody who picks Izumi every year, you went against it and you went with Hanan when it looked like Izumi did have a chance to win. Hanan obviously got the one, and what a heck of a year she had in 2024. And now we have our 2025 Cinderella Tournament bracket preview, one of my favorite episodes to do all year because it's not only do we do our picks, and obviously we look deep into it and that we overanalyze everything, but our significant others have offered their picks before. And yes, my wife, once we went over our brackets, took said bracket, this one right here, for you watch on YouTube, and threw it at me because she was very upset with me, which we'll get into in a moment. My wife is very, very competitive. And one of the fun things with this is the fact because there are so many newer faces to Stardom in this tournament that there was very few people she knew. Like she's like, I have no idea who this person is, and I would give a little bit of a background. And I'm going to get right into it. The reason why she was so upset with me is majority of our picks were very similar. And the fact that she does not know who many of these people in Stardom are, and the fact that she likes to be competitive with me and likes to do different, like do a little different, just so there's a clear winner, clear loser. That's why she was upset with me. That's why she was upset with me, which we will get into. But yeah, I'm excited to see what your picks are. Will Rob repeat? Will Rob repeat? He got Hanan right last year. I think I picked Hazuki to win last year. Yes, I did. I bet it with my heart. So will he repeat? And folks, what do you have as your winner? It's an interesting tournament, as we talked about before, off air and on air. You don't have any huge main eventers here really to draw out the tournament. Obviously, Tomoka Inaba and Hanan are kind of the two, your two big stalwarts here, but never really proven as far as draws go. Can you draw a crowd? Can you draw 15, 16, 1,700 people on a Hanan singles match and Tomoka Inaba? So it's really a proving ground, not only for these wrestlers, but for Stardom to say, like, can we draw enough tickets putting these 16 wrestlers on 3 nights of tournament wrestling? So we're going to find out. We're going to find out in all about a week's time, partner.
Yeah, there's a couple of differences this year. It's a 16-woman bracket, which means no buys for the first time since, I believe, 2021. It's just a straight elimination bracket. Everyone is in the first round, which I am a huge fan of. Not only that, but we seem to be sort of last year, we slowly but surely sort of phased out the main eventers, your Mayus, your Tams, people like that. We phased them out of the tournament. And this year, they've gone one step further and effectively just made this almost entirely exclusively lower mid-card and more inexperienced wrestlers, which we've always said about the Cinderella tournament. It's that breakout tournament, isn't it? You look at people who've won this tournament, they've then gone on to big things. And Hanan, who is perhaps the biggest star in this tournament, went on to win last year, had a brilliant year. She had a brilliant match against Saori at All-Star Grand Queendom, had a brilliant 5-star Grand Prix, had a great Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, which she then won with Syuri, and then on top of that, went on to win the titles at Dream Queendom. So a great year for her. And, 16 wrestlers, 7 tournament debutantes this year, which I believe, aside from, the first one, is a record for the Cinderella tournament itself. 16 wrestlers, as I've already mentioned, 3 nights. So all 8 all 8 first round matchups will take place on the 8th at Yokohama Budokan. Your quarterfinals will take place on the 9th of March, and then your semi-finals and finals will take place on the 15th of March in Ota Ward City Gymnasium. Your opening round and your finals are both on pay-per-view. So for those who haven't seen the brackets yet, I will get them up on screen now. Sayaka Kurora versus Ruaka, Rani Yagami versus Akira Kuragani, Hanako versus Aya Sakura, and Rian versus Azusa Inaba make up the left-hand side of your bracket. On the other side, Hanan versus Tomoka Inaba and Miyu Amasaki versus Lady C. Those are two big matches between four of arguably your favorites. Rina versus Uriah Himi and Hina versus CMLL's Tabata. Matt, obviously we're going to get into it. I would argue that right time we went through this as we've just recorded the latest episode of the Stardom cast. We've been through how that right hand side, Hanan, Tomoka Inaba, Miyu Amasaki, Lady C, Rina, and your future Stardom champion as well in Hina. That is a tough side of the bracket. There is no easy matchups at all there. And we mentioned Sayaka Kurora, and obviously we've talked about her arc at the moment and how she fits in with the Tam Nakano and Saya Kamatani storyline. Arguably, the tournament is made for her. However, again, we said that left-hand side of the bracket, yes, it might not have the firepower of the right-hand side, but there's still some tricky match. I mean, she's got Ruaka in the first round. Ruaka is not an easy person to get by, especially as you've got hate at ringside, the cheating and stuff like that. You've got Hanako on that side, Azusa Inaba on that side. Rani Yagami and Aya Sakura on no pushovers either. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Matt, you and Amber are very competitive. Kirsty is quite literally the opposite.
I'm not competitive. No, there's sometimes I'll throw things for her to win. It just makes it easier. And you have to remember, Rob, I played a lot of sports as a youth, and I was not good at all. I am not an athletic bone in my body. When I played Little League Baseball, they would always tell me, hey, step into one because I can take pain. May as well be a pro wrestler, right? So what I'm trying to say, Rob, is I'm used to losing. I'm very good at losing. I have a lot of experience at losing. So sometimes, Rob, because we made a Star Wars reference in the record that we just recorded, sometimes you have to let the Wookiee win. And by no means am I comparing my wife's beauty to Chewbacca. But you know what I mean?
You are a brave man comparing
She doesn't listen to this anyway. And by the way, folks, if you're going to try to get me heat in Vegas and be like, hey, Matt, how are you? Is this Amber? Yeah, he thinks you look like Chewbacca.
Oh, I might say that when I see you. Hi, Amber. You're looking less like Chewbacca nowadays. And Matt was never seen again. Yeah, so Kirsty literally doesn't know much about Stardom at all. She knows a little bit, actually more than I gave her credit for, through just listening to me talk about it. So, but similarly to you, she's got no idea. I don't think she knew a single person who is in this tournament bracket. So, and similar to other years where she's taken part, she's just guessed. I mean, last year she literally just went for the first person I said in each of the matchups. And still got a relatively good bracket, which was crazy. And this year, she's guessed because she doesn't know who these people are, and she's still come up with a really good final. So it's going to be interesting. And I'm stalling a little bit because I still don't know what I'm going to do with my right-hand side of the bracket. But do you know what? We're going to dive right into it. We're going to just go for it and see what happens, Matt Turner. So, match number one. Now, left-hand side of the bracket, I'm pretty set with what I'm going to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch along at home, you will see our brackets fill out and you will see my skin get progressively redder and redder and redder and the veins start to appear in my temple. If you're listening at home, let us know what your bracket is going to be. But anyway, we're going to start with Sayaka Kurora versus Ruaka. And I'm of the opinion that this is all about this person here, Sayaka Kurora. I think that she is going to be a big player in this tournament, whether that is winning it or whether that is at least making it to the final. I think that she's going to be a big player. Matt, who have you got winning that match?
I just want to say I love this interaction. As always, Rob Goen does so much homework on this podcast. Brilliantly done, buddy. Brilliantly done. I'm going to say Tam Nakano wins this match as she's a freelancer. No,
she is a freelancer.
I'm in agreement. There is a lot of skin in the game with Sayaka Kurora. Obviously, she's a big piece of the puzzle of the Sayaka Matani and Tam Nakano story, considering the fact of all the other main eventers around that this is going to be a huge highlight for Sayaka Kurora. And I like just the fact that it's Cosmic Angels versus Hate. Not only that, but Ruaka made it to the semifinals last year, and she made it to the semifinals, Rob, by beating Kagama in round 1, Hazuki in round 2, and cheating. They did a great job putting a lot of heat on Ruaka, building her up. And I think this would be a huge feather in the cap of Sayaka Kurora to knock out a semifinalist in last year's tournament in round number 1.
So we move on to Amber. Who did Amber have?
Sayaka Kurora. And this is where the hate pun, somewhat intended, started beginning in my kitchen that eventually spilled out to my living room as we watch reruns of Big Bang Theory.
Wow. Kirsty went for Ruaka, so she has immediately gone for somebody else. I mean, hate turn confirmed, question mark. Who knows? So the second match on that left-hand side of the bracket, Rani Yagami versus Akira Gorigani. I feel like this is probably one of the easier ones to go with. So at the moment, heart rate is okay for me. I'm going to go for Rani Yagami. Again, I think that's a relatively easy one, Akira Gorigani. She will have her time. It's not this tournament. Matt?
Rob, before we go any further, we failed to mention that, again, we have new listeners to Stardom Cast, welcome, and new watchers to Stardom. Cinderella Tournament, pinfall, submission, time limit draws over the top rope. You can be eliminated and lose the match over the top rope. So we do see some upsets from time to time. So just want to point that out. Go ahead. Sorry.
Also, draws result in a double elimination. So draws, both women are out.
Handsome Round Goodwin, do they say how long? Round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4? Okay, usually it was like 10, 15, 20, and then unlimited. So, okay.
I'm assuming it's that again.
Okay. So, anyway, back to the bracket. Rani Yagami gets the win here.
Yeah, I agree. Amber?
Rani Yagami.
Wow. Copy an A, get an A. What can I say? And Full House. Kirsty also went
Whoa, Kirigami for your new Cinderella Tournament winner.
There you go, confirmed. Never go with what we say. Hanako versus Aya Sakura. So this is an interesting one. It's arguably the hardest one to call for me. I am going to go for Aya Sakura, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One of which you'll see when I get to my semifinals, but also Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori are the newer challengers to Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama's New Blood tag titles. It was Aya Sakura and Hanako that confronted each other at the conference. I think it would be a good idea to give Aya Sakura the victory here ahead of that tag title match, Matt.
Folks, are you ready for me to give Rob a little bit of a heart attack here? Now, you have these two have been pointed out really, really well. Aya and Hanako have been built up really well. What if, Rob Goodwin, as you look at this bracket, what if
Don't
this
say.
Hold on. What if this goes to a time limit draw? Then you have Azusa beat Rian. You give Azusa the unfair advantage, and you give her a bye for Sayaka Kurora, having Sayaka Kurora have to go through another member of Hate. That's a possibility, because we're building Cosmic Angels up against Hate. However, Rob Goodwin, with that being said, I have Hanako winning this match.
After all of that, you almost talked me into it then. I was like, ooh.
It's really good. That's what's great about the Cinderella Tournament. Who would have thought Ruaka? Because I remember when because I just listened to the other day, because I was like, you were one phone call. You were just 2 minutes away of somebody calling the ambulance for you. Because we were like, we're going to get Kagama and Hazuki, and because Hazuki got a bye. Kagama's definitely going to beat Ruaka. We're going to FWC in round 2. Not only do we get that, but we had Ruaka beating
eliminate both of them.
But it made sense because of the cheating, and who ultimately beat Ruaka, Hanan, in the same faction as FWC, and who stopped the cheating, FWC. Made sense.
Exactly.
Last year's tournament for booking aspect was brilliant. But anywho, I have Hanako, and then you need Amber's here, right?
I do indeed.
Hanako as well, good sir.
Okay. So she did just copy off you, right? Okay, got it.
No, she didn't, because she filled her bracket out in the kitchen, and I had to go. I was banned to the couch. She's like, "You cannot look. You can." That's what we do with the 5-star.
Takes it far too seriously.
I know we're getting off a tangent. Did I ever tell you the little thing that we do during the Royal Rumble?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes,
obviously we couldn't do it this one that just happened because we had the sweetheart stance.
of
But
course.
what we do is whenever the countdown, the 10-second comes in, we have to guess the wrestler for a point. So yeah, and if I get it right, she gets really upset, like really upset. It's like there's so many different wrestlers you can choose from, like that, and the surprises too. But anywho, Rob Goodwin.
Kirsty also went for Aya Sakura, which leaves us just one match on the left hand side, which is Rian versus Azusa Inaba. I imagine that everyone is going to say the same thing, with Azusa Inaba going through for me, Matt. What about you?
Yeah, Azusa. This will be really, really fun match. Two young wrestlers. Azusa Arion, obviously, gang signs after gang signs. Now she's got longer hair. Now she's a beer drinker. However, at the same time, you're an Inaba sister. So
Yeah, exactly. And these two as well. Azusa Inaba was giving her absolutely loads for being old. It's like she's 20.
I love it. Like Rita does. Like you old hag.
Rena's great at it. Who was it? She abused by calling an old hag. Oh, Unagi. Absolutely abused her for being old. Who did Amber have?
Amber had Azusa Inaba as well, which again, now we're 4 for 4. She was not happy when we were going through this.
I can only begin to imagine. And I can't actually remember who Kirsty said. It doesn't particularly matter, but I think she went for Azusa as well. I think. I've got it written down on my phone. But what do I use for the webcam for my phone, Matt? My phone. So I can't find her bracket. So
Get
I
you
know.
a webcam, buddy. We got to get the advertisements going pretty well. We got to get you a webcam.
No, the phone is far better. Phone is far better. Trust
excuse me. Let's make a reference.
Exactly. Right. Okay. This is where Rob falls down and just dies. So, Hanan and Tomoka Inaba. Right. Okay. So, okay.
Right.
It's these four that I can't get my head around. Like the rest, I'm fine with, and I'm pretty sure I know who I want to get through to the final. But like, obviously, you want to build Tomoka Inaba up because she is. No, I'm overthinking it. I'm doing exactly what I did last year. No, I'm not doing it.
I like how you're going first. I just realized that you're going first. Sometimes you'll go first, or sometimes you'll wait to hear other people's things.
No, because then I taught myself out of things. No, today I take action, Matt Turner. I think if you always tend to have one match that goes to a time limit draw, especially in the first round. And I think if you're going to have a time limit draw or a double elimination, it's going to be this one or Miyu Amasaki and Lady C. I am going to say it's going to be this one. And I'm going to go as a time limit draw between Hanan and Tomoka Inaba. Locked in. Or locked in. Moving on to Matt's bracket before I change my mind.
Rob Goodwin, many of people do have Tomoka Inaba winning the whole thing. Right, I understand that. You want to build her up. We do think she is signed with Stardom because their pictures do have the Stardom watermark on the top right. And we're doing something with her and Starlight Kid, so this might be a good way to build her up.
Sure.
Hanan won this tournament last year. Maybe she gets it a deep run here, and then it helps put somebody over, very much like Mirai won back-to-back. Mirai was on a run last year, only to put Hanan over, which that's a possibility. Rob Goodwin. TLD. Yes.
There you go.
Last year was the first tournament, and I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Where there was no buys. There was no draws. Nope. I think everybody's under the assumption they're going to do it again. I think Han and Smoke Inaba, they go to the time limit. I think it'll be 10 minutes because I think the last time they had a singles match, they did go to the 15-minute time limit draw when Hanan was future Stardom champion, which was a phenomenal match. And that was 3 years ago. And these two wrestlers are so much better. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most in the first round. I totally agree with you, my man. I think this is the old TLD, buddy. Look at that back-to-back, which means whatever our significant others have, if they're on the same page, will 100% be right.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, what did Amber? Because if Amber comes out with the TLD here, like that's just copying. It's just flat out plagiarism.
Hanan, she has Amber has Hanan. getting the win here.
And Kirsty has Tomoka Inaba. So
Ooh, all different picks, my man. All
there you
different
go.
picks.
And to be honest, it's one of those where I don't actually mind being wrong. Like whoever goes through, like I love Hanan, I love Tomoka Inaba. If they go to a TLD, means we've got more of that match. So I'm happy either way. Right, this is sodding hell.
This is tough.
It's these four. Like I've said, as soon as I've got past these four, I'm fine because I know where I'm going. Miyu Amasaki and Lady C. This would have been really easy if Miyu Amasaki was still Future Stardom champion.
And when Miyu Amasaki lost the Future Stardom champion, she was on her way down. And who had they been building on the way up?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah, do you know what? Lady C.
Do a double buy.
Lady C is going through there. So actually, she makes it all the way through to the semi-finals, doesn't she? For me. So yeah, you go, Lady C. Matt, who have you got?
Rob Goodwin. I'm going to keep it. I just said it. What does the C stand for in Lady C? Cinderella. Lady C gets the win here, and then she will defeat Bai. She will defeat Bai.
She will in a hard fought, yeah.
5 points. So yes, Lady C, when these brackets were announced, I was looking at it and I said, Lady C is going to make it to the final four. And I think this is the way to go about it. What a shot in the arm for Lady C to get to the final four of this bracket. So yes, my man, me and you, I don't know, but we're looking pretty good there. We're looking pretty good. Amber has, was this Lady C, Miyu Amasaki? She has Miyu Amasaki. She's all in on Neo Genesis.
Can't go wrong with Miyu Amasaki. Kirsty, however, is on that Lady C train. She loves Lady C. So there we go. I should be fine now. Should be absolutely golden. Right, we'll go back to the left-hand side now. Sayaka Kurora versus Ron Yagami
we still have the rest of the first round. With Rina.
Ignore everything I've just said.
Sure
Rina and Uriah Himi. Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of thing I said with Akira Kurogane. Rina makes it through to the second round. I'm going to assume, Mr. Turner, that you are exactly the same.
No. Yeah, I mean, Rina, as far as like your mid-carders that you just gave a shot in the arm to, it's Rina. And I think Rina's going to have a absolute phenomenal tournament. And again, a low-key kind of favorite. It's just like, well, you broke her down. Let's build her back up and maybe give a heel the Cinderella tournament. There's really 3 people that people are kind of earmarking to win this tournament. Rina is one of them. Amber has Rina as well, good sir.
Okay, and this is where Kirsty brings out the shock of the tournament. I think helped by the fact that she didn't know who Uriah Himi was, but that is who she has going through to the second round. Uriah Himi defeating Rina in what can only be described as the shock of the tournament so far. Hina versus Tabitha. Now, this could be quite interesting because they might well go a Tabitha win here to set up a challenge for Hina's Future of Stardom championship. But Hina has just won the championship. She is now officially a full-time member of the roster. You're going to at least get through the first round, I would have thought, of the Cinderella tournament. So I am going to go for Hina.
Setting up an all-sister battle makes sense. This was a little tricky for me because, again, I know very little about Tabitha. However, you flew her all the way over just to lose in the first round of the Cinderella tournament. Wouldn't make sense. However, AEW flew Momo Watanabe all the way over to Australia to sit in the front row.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've seen stranger things, but that's why I'm going to go with, I think Tabitha's going to get the win here. I agree with setting up a Future Stardom Championship match here. And I think we've seen Rina and Hina do battle quite a bit. I think change it up a little. I think Rina's fast, high-speed style offense and the lucha style of Tabitha really makes it for an interesting and really good second-round matchup. But that's one of the tougher ones in the first round, but I think you're going to see an upset there by putting the luchador over.
What about Amber? Is she of the opinion that we're having an all-sister quarterfinal?
Rob, it's really funny because a lot of these wrestlers she doesn't know because she hasn't really been watching Stardom, but she knows who Hina is but she went the opposite way. She went with me, went with Tabitha.
Wow.
That was really interesting, the fact that that we both agreed on that one.
Well, that's all three of you, because Kirsty also thinks that Tabitha is going through as well to set up Uriah Himi and Tabitha in the quarterfinal, which I didn't think I would say out loud. But there
You didn't have
what?
that on your bracket last year, did you?
Inside track, I tell you. Inside track. Right. Now we're going
Ishikawa.
through to the semifinals. Now Ishikawa, we're moving to the semifinals. So my quarterfinal is Sayaka Kurora versus Rani Yagami. And you probably know where I'm going with this, but I am going Sayaka Kurora for the victory there. Defeating Rani Yagami in what I imagine will be a great match, to be fair. Matt?
Tam Lore lives on. Sayaka Kurora.
There you go. How funny would it be if Sayaka Kurora gets rolled up in the first 2 minutes of their match with Ruaka, and we're like, oh. Who did Amber go for?
The heat kept on coming here in Bangor, Pennsylvania, because the agreements kept going. Consider the fact we were opposites attract, that we were the definitions of opposites attract, me and her. We make it happen. And the fact that we got so much stuff together here, I never seen her so upset at me before.
So Kirsty's quarterfinal was Ruaka and Rani Yagami, and she had the violent freezer herself, Ruaka, going through to a second consecutive semi-final. And I must admit, actually looking at that sort of part of the bracket, I can actually see that happening, to be fair. That's not out of the realms of possibility at all. And then this one's this is your fault, Matt. I was fine doing my Sayaka Kurora Aya Sakura semi-final. I thought, it'll be great. It'll be a Cosmic Angels thing, and we can play into that whole Aya Sakura being an underutilized member of Cosmic Angels. Even Hanako said it. But no, now you're like, Sayaka Kurora's got to beat more people in hate. And now I'm like, yes, so Azusa Inaba needs to go through, doesn't she? Look what you've done to me. God damn it.
It makes sense, right? It makes sense. And I once read in a yearbook, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense.
That's good, but that doesn't help me. Aya Sakura, Azusa Inaba. Who do I go for? Right, okay.
You're gonna go for an all Cosmic Angels? You're gonna go with hate?
I desperately had Aya Sakura having a really good run in this, and now I've talked myself out of it. I'm going to Azusa Inaba.
Here's something else you have to put through. This match is going to be on the last night on a pay-per-view in a big venue. This is what, Oda Ward? Yeah, Oda Ward.
Yeah.
So what's the bigger ticket draw? Sakura versus Aya Sakura or Azusa Inaba? That you have to think of that as well, because it's a business. You have to think about that as well.
It's locked in. Azusa Inaba versus Sayaka Kurora is my first semi-final.
You can tell what a great salesman I am, Rob, as Rob gets ready to click my bracket, that I convinced you to take Azusa Inaba, but I'm taking Hanako. I think now it does make sense for Azusa. It does, for those reasons. However,
but just Hanako, not enough for you to take her.
How? And I 100% could be wrong. Who's the one that who of these two handsome individuals you see on your screen, folks? Who's the one that got this tournament right last year? Rob did. I didn't. What do I know? He's more kawaii than I am. I think just to get my reason behind it is just the reasoning I just said. Hanako is a bigger star in Stardom. You know what I mean? She's has more of a presence. She's been on American TV more. They put her in the finals of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. I think they want Hanako to be on that pay-per-view, to draw pay-per-view buys and to draw tickets. Now, is Sayaka Kurora versus Azusa Inaba going to be a great match? Yes. Does it completely make sense for having Sayaka Kurora to have to go through certain members of hate to win this tournament? Yes, possibly setting up for something that may happen come in May, June. It's a possibility, but I think Sayaka Kurora and Hanako, I think is maybe a bigger money matchup first time. Nothing huge, but I think that's something that would maybe help drive a little bit ticket sales. Again, could I be wrong? Absolutely. I'm wrong all the time. That's part of the charm that is Matt Turner. And the fact that I own up to my mistakes, which by the way, I apologize for my rant on the Sayaka Hamatani heel turn at summer of last year. I haven't apologized for that in like 4 days.
What about Amber then? What has she got for the Hanako and Azusa Inaba semi-final?
Let's see. Hanako and Azusa Inaba. She has a Hanako going through.
Right. Okay. I can sort of see why she threw the bracket at you now. Kirsty has Aya Sakura and Azusa Inaba as well. And she went for Aya Sakura. So she's got Ruaka versus Aya Sakura as her first semi-final, which again could very well happen.
Well, and here's something else too. You want to draw tickets? Here's your poster: kicking the violent freezer, or the cherry blossoms coming out of the violent freezer. You open up the door, and what comes out of a violent freezer? Cherry blossoms. What a poster, Rob! Look at that.
Magic. Honestly, printing money.
Or flowers.
Or flowers. Both me and you have already got our third semi-final set up because we had Lady C going through because of the time limit draw. Who did Amber have out of Hanan and Miyu Amasaki for her semi-finalist?
Are you ready? Yeah. Hanan, Hanan. Yay. I missed that music. Even though her Wish Me Go Happy Sunshine is pretty catchy.
I genuinely thought you were going to sing that and then go Miyu Amasaki.
What a swerve.
Kirsty out of Tomoka Inaba and Lady C. Kirsty, as Lady C going over, has clearly seen those big boots that Lady C has delivered to Azumi. Right, now, I've got in my last quarterfinal Rina versus Hina. And controversially, perhaps, I'm going to go Rina. Again, I think I know where I'm going now, which is good. Matt, you've got Rina and Tabata. Who have you got?
Rina.
Rina, yeah, makes sense.
Defeating that old wrestler.
I don't know how old Tabitha is, to be
She's
fair.
probably 20 or 21.
I was just going to say. Amber, I'm assuming she went Rina as well.
She went Rina as well. Yep. Now, you talk about an all-sisters match. She thought the all-sisters match would be a little bit later in the bracket, as we can see.
Yes, okay, fair enough. And Kirsty had Tabata defeating Uriah Hime.
What a Final Four.
Do you know what? Genuinely, aside from Tabata, that Final Four could legitimately happen. Ruaka, Aya Sakura, Lady C. Okay, not Tabata, but, I mean, it could happen. It could happen. Maybe Rina and Uriah Hime go to a time limit draw. Who knows?
The old TLD.
The old TLD. So now, final night, 15th of March. Semi-finals are taking place, and Rob in his bracket has Sayaka Kurora versus Azusa Inaba. And I'm going Sayaka Kurora. Has to happen, my friend. Has to happen. Mr. Turner, who have you got?
The most controversial pick of this episode. Not since 2018 are we going to have the semifinals, the actual finals. Time limit. No, I'm just kidding. Sayaka Kurora wins. Do you remember? I think it was Io and Mayu. It was like a double count out and a time limit draw. Then I think it had to be like B. Priestley and Momo was like the makeshift finals. That will not happen. I have Sayaka Kurora.
Amber, who does Amber have?
Sayaka Kurora.
Like, I don't think you matches change at all. Like, is there one person different? I think.
Again, you've known me how long? You've met my wonderful wife. We are the definition of opposites attract. And I always say my one example is if you turn on my car back in the old CD days when you had CDs, the radio was blaring. It was Ozzy, it was Sabbath, it was turned up. If it could turn up to 10, I turn it to 11. Like it's Spinal Tap. Turn it up to 11. Amber shuts the car off, shuts the radio off. She likes silence. I like noise.
Fair enough. Kirsty's first semi-final was Ruaka versus Aya Sakura. And she had Aya Sakura overcoming shutting the door of the violent freezer.
Mr. Rogo, I want to point something out here. Everybody thinks that's going to be Sayaka Kurora as the Cosmic Angels win. What if it's Aya? What if it's
It's been a big
Aya
swerve this
saving the day?
entire time.
Oh, that's
What
really it's interesting.
what if it's Aya Sakura who wins and she doesn't use the wish to bring Tam back?
She wishes Tam has to change her name to NX Tam and joins Hate.
Wow. There you go. Printing money.
And then guess who comes out as Aya Sakura's manager? Vince Russo. And he just says, "It's a swerve, baby." It's all he says over and over again.
Imagine again. I'm amazed that we haven't been brought onto the Stardom booking committee. To
No,
be
there's a
perfectly
reason
honest,
why. There's a reason why they can only make so much money.
true.
Tax write-off.
I've got Lady C and Rena. So I am going to go Rena. I think Rena makes it through. I'd love to see Lady C in the final. I think she deserves it, but there is a story I'm telling in my bracket, and unfortunately, Lady C's time has run out in this story. Matt Turner, you've also got Lady C and Rena in the semi-final. Have we ended up with the same final?
Rob Goodwin, we have ended up with the same final. Again, Rena
Yes.
on an absolute tear. What a better way to build her up than have her going to the finals of this very unpredictable, maybe unpredictable Cinderella tournament. I expect big things from Rena, not only in this tournament, but in this year. I think she's going to have a great 5-star Grand Prix as well.
Amber has Rena and Hanan are all sister semi-final, which again, that would be a very tasty semi-final if that happened. Who does she have winning?
Very much like they say in the National Football League, it's a young man's game, and it is a young person's game here, as Hanan clearly is over the age 20. No, she does have Rena. She does have Rena. I just love how Rena thinks everybody's like, "You're an old hag." You're almost like, "I'm 19. I'm 20. I'm 21."
Yeah.
But she does have Rena.
And Kirsty had Lady C defeating
I love
Tabata.
it.
But again, do you see what I mean? Somehow, despite not knowing who any of these people are, she has ended up with Lady C versus Aya Sakura as her final, which again could very legitimately happen.
And a great match too, Rob. When you look at it, they built up Lady C quite a bit these last 2 or 3 weeks. Aya Sakura is on all the shows, the New Blood shows,
Yep.
the Stardom shows, the Sendai Girl shows. So there's a lot of eyes on Aya Sakura. That it could very possibly happen. Absolutely.
So, just to recap before we give our winners, let's go through our finals, which shouldn't take long because 3 of us have got the same final. Rob has Sayaka Kurora versus Rena. Matt has Sayaka Kurora versus Rena. Amber has Sayaka Kurora versus Rena. Kirsty has gone a bit of a different way. Aya Sakura versus Lady C. So we come to our winners. It's so much easier with a 16-person bracket and no buys. It's so much easier to predict a bracket. That year when Mirai won it the second time in 2023, how do you predict that tournament? And half the field was time limit draws or double eliminations.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was something within the first 2 nights. I want to say like 70% of the tournament was gone. It was like, man, because we were all excited because we got Mayu and Saya Kamatani went 2.5 minutes.
It's the wonder of the Cinderella tournament. But of course, the winner, I'm sure you were all aware that myself and Matt are of the opinion that Sayaka Kurora, well, I'm of the opinion, I don't know what Matt's saying. I am of the opinion that Sayaka Kurora wins this tournament. And when Tam inevitably loses that retirement match that she has planned against Saya Kamatani, Sayaka Kurora's wish, for the first time ever, by the way, since 2015, this wish that the winner gets brings about a title shot. Not this year, though. This year, Sayaka Kurora wants Tam Nakano back. And that's why I think that your 2025 winner of the Cinderella tournament is going to be Sayaka Kurora. Matt Turner, who you got?
I'm not going to stretch it out any further. I totally agree with you on every aspect. Sayaka Kurora wins this tournament. I think we wait a month or 2 to bring Tam back. Again, the old Jim Cornette saying, "How can I miss you if you don't go away?" Plus, it gives other people the opportunity to get to that super double looper, double main event spot, that main event spot that Tam's in. And I think not only does she bring up, like, I think it's kind of something that we draw out. We really build anticipation on what it's going to be. Is she going to challenge Saya Kamatani for the red belt? Is she going to challenge Starlight Kid or Hazuki, wink, for the Wonder Belt? Is she going to challenge for the high speed? Is she going to challenge Mercedes Monet for the TBS championship? I think we draw it out. I think right before the 5-star Grand Prix, she wants Tam in the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm going to go even further. Tam wins the 5-star Grand Prix and beats Sai Kamatani at the end of the year. Because if that happens, we will go from 427 to 1229. So we will gone 8 months without a Tam and Saya match. And what a better way to cool it down and to bring it back up. And then you make a new star with Sayaka Kurora. And the fact that you put so much more babyface sympathy on her because she was the only wrestler to ever be so unselfish that she wishes her leader back and won Tam Nakano. So I agree with you, and then I'm going to add a little bit on.
And then Sayaka Kurora swerves her, hits her with a chair, joins hate. Amber, Sayaka Kurora versus Rina.
Sayaka Kurora and this paper in my face. That's when this thing got thrown through. Because we had so many ones that we completely agreed on.
So for those who are watching in the video realm, you can see that the only difference in their brackets was the upper right-hand side of the bracket. So Hanan, Tomoka Inaba, Miya Wamasaki, and Lady C. Matt had Abai and Lady C, and Amber had Hanan and Miya Wamasaki. Those are the only differences of the entire bracket. Again, Matt, I perfectly advocate the fact that she threw this paper in your face. And it is completely, obviously your fault as well.
Always
clearly.
Is. Consistency. Yeah,
absolutely.
What do I say? It's not my fault or I'm not rounding 2 or 3 times a day. Am I really even trying at life?
Exactly. Now, this is the final we all care about. So 3 of us have Sayaka Kurora winning. Yeah, whatever. Kirsty, Aya Sakura and Lady C in that final. And you know what? She has the human talent winning the 2025 Cinderella Tournament. And you know what? If Lady C wins this tournament, we will go nuts here in the UK. People will be cheering. They'll be swinging from the rafters. Kirsty will be raised up like some sort of deity. She'll be crowned the new Queen of England. People want to see that happen. Not enough that I would choose it, but people want to see it happen. If Lady C wins, I wouldn't be upset that Sayaka Kurora hasn't. That's the only other one that would make it worth it.
Not only that, Rob, we finally found out what the C and Lady C stands for. Cinderella. And you can make a lot of money off that. You can make t-shirts, posters, those are acrylic stands that they do, the hoodies, the towels, a lot you can do with that. Lady Cinderella.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to recap for you one final time, me, Matt, and Amber all got the same finals, all got the same winner. Sayaka Kurora versus Rina. Sayaka Kurora as your winner. Kirsty, the only one who has the bravery to go out and do something different. Aya Sakura and Lady C in the final. She's got Lady C as the winner. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, we would love to know in the comments on Patreon, wherever you can get in contact with us on social media. We'd love to hear who your picks for the final and as your winner for the 2025 tournament are, especially with all of the big hitters, really, aside from Hanan, not being in this tournament. This is really a chance for one of your lower mid-carders or even your younger, more inexperienced wrestlers to grab the bull by the horns and really grab that opportunity. So I'd love to hear what you guys would think are going to win the tournament. In the meantime, though, unless you have anything to add, Mr. Turner?
I'm glad that you survived. I'm glad you're a little bit calmer, a lot calmer.
I was a lot calmer.
You were very good. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you, my friend. Great job. The fact that the 3 of us have the same final. But it's going to be really interesting. for a lot of different reasons. And again, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they can draw on these 3 shows, because you do not have any major drawing main eventers. Like I said, the only really 2 main eventers in the tournament are Hanan and Tomoka Inaba, but they're not on a consistent, proven draw to draw well over 1,000 people. So again, this is a great opportunity to, hey, show me what we got. Let's see how hot the company is, especially from the mid card down to the opening match wrestlers.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up our Bracketology episode and the third of 3 recordings we've done for the free feed this week. We hope you've enjoyed all of our Cinderella-based content this week. We will, of course, be back next week as we go through all of the results leading us to the semifinals and final, because as of this time next week, we will know what our semifinals are ahead of the Outer Ward City Gym show. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you can leave us a 5-star review and a comment, if you think we've earned it, it really does help the podcast out. Don't forget, if you prefer, you can subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast, where you get all of these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, including a whole host of bonus episodes as well. Check out the website, talkjoshi.com, for all of your news, reviews, previews, archived episodes, all of that good stuff from the Stardom Cast and the Marigold Standard. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, but only on certain things, because on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, we are at Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
You actually can find us on the Instagram at the Stardom Cast. So we do have that as well. I forgot about that. We do have that as well. But folks, questions, comments, suggestions, let me know how many time limit draws you think they're going to be in the Cinderella Tournament. Let me know what your picks are. Let me know if there's any outside left field. Most of the people that I've talked to have Saka Korora, Rina, or Tomoka Inaba winning. Let me know if you have somebody different and the reason why. We would love to know why. Folks, again, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram, on the Twitter, on the Blue Sky, and the TikTok. If you want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine. To see Rob is doing his best. Ronnie, you got me. Impressing. He's getting those arms rolling. He's ready to rock and roll. The email address, folks, simply is the StardomCast22@gmail.com. And folks, that's going to wrap it up for another bonus episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.